I was born with nothing, or rather, I started off with nothing. I was born in the Dominican Republic and grew up in a small part of the city of Nagua called Pajita. Growing up in poverty caused me to live with little food or no food at times. We had a nice house compared to our financial situation. However, everything around me looked so much grander. It reminded me of how I had nothing. My father traveled to the United States to help us with the lack of money in our household. Experiences that could have been were erased from possibility. My resourceful mother grew plantains on our backyard to keep us fed. Every month, we would receive a letter from my father telling us how much he missed us and the things he discovered at his job. I felt afraid of being forgotten by him. When I was 7, an incident with my sibling crashing into a wall and splitting their head open had led my mother to leave me home alone in a panic. I felt forgotten, left behind not by choice but by necessity. I had conflicted feelings towards the situation. I learned the horrifying truth about being forgotten, that if you are forgotten, you become nothing. That was the moment the gravity of the situation I was put into came to me. I was put into a category of people that were expected to not succeed and were ignored in general. I learned that in order to become something and gain everything, I had to escape from the empty void that is nothingness. Every single day, I worked hard. No matter the tragedies that followed or happened in my life, I had gained the determination to move forward. My future would not amount to nothing. I would cause the pain that was casted upon me to be diminished or erased completely for the people around me. Education for me was extremely important. At that point, my father had gained passports for me and my sibling and caused me to move over to Orlando, Florida every summer. I never had a summer vacation. I worked hard to learn English because I knew it would allow me to understand others better. At this point, we were ready to make the move from the Dominican Republic to the United States of America in 2015. It was exciting yet saddening. I had to go. I had never felt more excited to change in my life up to that point. America seemed like paradise in my childish eyes. Everything would be better once I was there, is what I thought, as my mother sold off every item we owned except for a few clothes to be able to afford plane tickets. On the way to the airplane, during the flight, and so forth, everything felt like a movie or a TV show. It felt so unreal. I was leaving my old life behind to begin a new one, and I was not sure what it would be like. I knew it would be a lot more than the nothing I was all too familiar with. Once we arrived at Boston Logan Airport, it was freezing for us. We were incredibly cold. Not even our jackets were enough to make us feel warm. Meanwhile, we walked past people who were dressed for the summer. That was strange. We got a ride home to Lawrence, Massachusetts from one of my dad's good friends, and somehow we still got lost and walked around aimlessly, a bit confused in this new environment, until we eventually arrived back home. It had nothing inside except for one of the rooms having a bed that took too much space up and a small desk on the side of it. This was the start of our new life. Reuniting with my father was bittersweet. I loved him and I was happy to see him again. However, I wasn't a toddler anymore, and I couldn't relate to him the same way I could have when I was a child. I found myself realizing that connecting with others was more difficult than I thought it would be, especially someone who I hadn't seen in years. In the present, I have more than what my younger self would have ever imagined. I have achieved so many things that would make him proud. I am becoming the person I strive to be. Others who have experienced similar tragedies and challenges as me may choose to give in to that pain and to alleviate that fear of being forgotten by taking terrible actions to gain attention, such as violence and harassment. However, I don't see myself being that way, as I cannot allow other people to experience the same pain I lived through as an immigrant who came from poverty. I fear to be forgotten by the world and by those I care about. That feeling is so foul, so horrid, I cannot allow someone else to feel that way. I joined FFI to become a better person, as well as learning how to understand other people so that I may help them. Meeting different people from all over the world has truly allowed me to realize how vast and complicated people are, and have found ways to put myself in others' shoes like never before. Due to all of my experiences, I have decided for a long time I wanted to become a therapist. FFI allows me to harness my skills to achieve that in the ways that I mentioned previously. I started off with nothing, and I will achieve every goal I have so that I may provide to others everything that I didn't.